All right, welcome back. So, quick little news of the day video for today. Just before I get into it, I want to put out there that we have a new Discord server for the channel. I announced it last week. We are getting up to quite a few members already, so if you're at all curious and joining a server where we can talk about DPC, I have a thread even with all the roster changes and all the free agents and stuff on there as well. And just generally, just being in a Dota community at all, feel free to join. It's open, link in description. I'm also going to be trying to put together a mini Captain's Mode tournament within the next few weeks. It'll probably end up being near either mid or late November, just because I want to try and get as many people in as possible, make sure everyone's schedule is cleared. And yeah, so be on the lookout for that. And if you're at all interested, let me know in the comments and I'll start getting a Google Sheet going so I can start putting teams together and stuff. And maybe people can sign up as teams. Any of them are. It's just going to be a little for fun tournament, and we'll see where that takes us. So yeah, jumping into the news, we have Bait. Obviously, that is Dendy's organization that he formed almost 2 years ago now. It's crazy how time has flown. They have actually moved Watson, Limitless, and TSA to their bench, so they are becoming inactive members of the roster, which means that Bait now has a lot of slots to fill. It's going to be interesting to see what they do in this offseason, especially with a lot of big name players floating around in the pool. Notably, when they came into the scene, they came in a little bit after the TI9 post-TI9 roster shuffle period. So they probably didn't maybe get as many of the big name players that they were hoping to grab. But now that they're in the middle of this roster shuffle by moving a lot of their players to the bench, we'll see if they're going to be able to pick up any really big name players, because to this point, I don't think it's really controversial to say that Bait has been a little bit underwhelming. They really haven't had that streak of great like uplifting Dota. They haven't really given any like sign of life really. Every time they win, they just have a much worse loss upcoming. So I'm struggling with my words here, but you understand what I'm saying. It just hasn't really been the Bait that we were kind of expecting it when we saw them. Or maybe it is what we were expecting. After all, it is Dendy heading into his 11th year of competitive Dota 2. And that's not even taking into account the Dota 1 that he played before even Dota 2 came out. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, so they've got a lot of slots to fill. As for the inactive players, it's going to be interesting to see what they end up doing, if they stick around the team, if Bait ends up loaning them to any other teams. We'll have to see. There's going to be a lot of teams looking for a lot of new players. And I got Watson. Watson's a pretty good player. I'm not as familiar with the other two players, but I'm a little surprised if he ends up just being an inactive player throughout most part of this DPC season. So we'll have to see how that goes. Next little bit of news. So about a week ago, we got some news that Quincy crew was going to be undergoing a lot of major changes, whether that be players leaving or just some management changes. We first had the departure of Kezu, who came in as a coach for TI, and that didn't go very well. We then had the departure of Leslau, who said he was going to be taking some time away from the team at least and might not be coming back at all. And then we had MSS, who was actually looking for a team possibly in Europe, so he had left the team. And now we have the full disband of Quincy crew, as per Leslau on his Twitch stream. So it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening. Of course, Quincy crew was the second best team of North America throughout the entire year. They even won first place in Season 2 in North American DPC. So now that second place team, now that team that attended both majors from North America is just gone. So it's going to be interesting to see which team ends up filling their place. I'd have to imagine it's Undying, who to this point has stayed together other than their coach Febby leaving. But of course, Febby only really joined after he wasn't able to qualify for TI himself. So we'll have to see how that goes and where these players end up, because there's a lot of big name players on this team that have yet to say anything. Quinn, notably, we'll see where he ends up. Yawar, I know that a few years ago he was thinking about going back to school, and after a disappointing result at TI like this, even though he is a fantastic player, maybe he's more considering going back to school. We'll have to see where all those players end up. And yeah, so that does it for the real concrete news. Now heading into the last little bit, which is a rumor. This is the only type of rumor that I'm really going to be covering on this channel. When it comes to roster changes or players moving in and out of teams, I really try my best to stay away from rumors, just because there's so much going on already that I want to make sure that I'm just spreading actual confirmed sources, actual confirmed changes to players and stuff on my channel. I don't want to be promoting too many rumors. This next one is mainly being brought up by me because it brings up an interesting discussion about the next DPC year. So we have info from Alliance's manager that the next DPC season is going to be starting in late November this year. So that means that there will have been about a month and a half off between TI and the beginning of the next season. And if it is starting that soon, then that's clear that Valve is really trying to fit 3 full seasons in. That means 3 regular seasons in every region, plus a major before the next international, which I'd imagine that they're trying to move back to August, which is why they're starting the season in November, because usually this is when the season would be starting back up again when TI was back in August. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And if it does end up starting in a month from now, that means that we're probably going to be getting an announcement from Valve about the changes, if there are any, for this upcoming season, which I'm really hoping there are. I've already made a video talking about the changes that I'd really like to see. And if there weren't any changes heading into the DPC, I'd be a little bit disappointed. I'd be quite disappointed, actually. I thought the major format was really weird and the point distribution was way off. But we'll see. So yeah, I'm hoping it starts in November. That means more Dota coming up more quickly. But again, not really as much of a downtime for a lot of the players that just gave their everything for this TI. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. And thank you guys so much for watching. Again, Discord server link in the description down below. And if you guys are at all interested in playing in the mini in-house Captain's Mode tournament that I'm thinking of organizing in a couple weeks from now, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below or in the Discord server, and I'll start putting it together. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.